Welcome to the section Error Handling. This section guides you through several error scenarios that might occur during the consumption process and the methods Mule offers to handle them. Let's have a look at the topics this section covers and what you are going to learn. First, you will see which steps are actually prone to errors and thus require a dedicated error handling. Another aspect is the distinction between reproducible and irreproducible errors. As you will see, this has a significant impact on the question what kind of error handling is required and where. In this context, you will get familiar with some Mule error handling concepts that also might come in handy for other data integration requirements. An important concept when it is about dealing with errors that are specific to certain topic messages is the filtering of these messages such that the consumption flow can go on with the remaining messages. The method that will be introduced in this section allows you to do so without the use of a so-called dead letter queue. As you will see, the particular advantage of this method is that you can use the regular Kafka topic and your regular consumption process when it is about performing the tasks that are usually done by means of a dead letter queue, such as having a look at filtered topic messages and, where appropriate, triggering a reconsumption. After this, you will get to know a simple and effective method to ensure data consistency when you are dealing with messages that have to be consumed following the all-or-nothing principle. In other words, a potentially incomplete consumption of one or more messages will be transparent to your target system, so these messages can be excluded from the follow-up process. Finally, you will get to know an example of handling an error considered as critical by stopping the whole consumption flow. This is an example of a scenario in which an error is so critical that you do not wish any further message consumption until the cause of this error has been identified and solved. The next slide shows a graphical representation of the overview. This will provide you with another more technical and detailed perspective of the topics in this section. Let's have a look at it. First, I would like to draw your attention to the filtering of problematic messages. As you can see in the middle of the slide, the filtering will be implemented for two steps, namely during the deserialization of the messages and the system API call, as both steps in the consumption process are prone to message-related and reproducible errors. In both cases, a dedicated error log table will be populated with all message header information needed for identifying the actual message. As the population of this log table is the basis for both message filtering steps, we will implement the corresponding endpoint in the next lecture of the section before moving on to the message filtering steps. The next topic we will deal with is the logging of the correlation ID. This is basically a technical ID that allows you to identify an API call. This logging step will be the last one in the consumption process so that you will be able to use this information in order to verify which consumptions have successfully been finished. As you will see, both log tables are relevant to the topic ensuring data consistency when dealing with messages that have to be consumed following the all-or-nothing principle. For the topic stopping the consumption flow in case of critical errors, I will provide you with an example related to the system API call. Of course, this action can also be applied to other errors you might classify as critical. And finally, I would like to point out the default error handling behavior, namely the abort of the actual API call. This means that in case of an irreproducible error occurring during the message deserialization or the system API call, or in case of an arbitrary error during another step in the consumption process, a retry for all messages that were included in the message batch of the failed API call will take place. As a result, every message will be eventually consumed or filtered. Alright, now that you have seen the error handling at a glance, it is time to work through the individual topics in the following lectures. See you there!